This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Passardi. You might have seen those familiar yellow signs around the Uppingham area in particular for this year's Ibrook Walk with the Rotary Club of Uppingham, and Hugh Holden's here to tell us a little bit more about the walk. Now, you used to have it in March, then we had the snow, then you moved it to July and had the wettest day you could possibly have, but still managed to raise a load of money.
That's correct, Rob. We'd managed to get the only wet day in July last year, so we should be due for a dry year this year, I hope.
Now, the Ibrook Walk, firstly, it's an area that you can't normally access because of the private fishery that's there.
That's correct. We have the only day which is open to the general public now, and it is encouraged by the Ibrook fishery because it's the terms of their lease, not the Ibrook fishery really, which restricts the access these days to the Ibrook estate.
So how far round is it? And it is quite a leisurely walk, isn't it? We're not talking about a power walk unless you want it.
We aim really for a family-friendly walk. We want families out with their youngsters and their granny and granddads, most of us running it to granny and granddads to start with. And it's 4.7 miles, it's level walking, it's accessible to pushchairs. I wouldn't think wheelchairs perhaps, but certainly pushchairs. And we do have many families come out, and indeed their dogs.
And it all starts at 10 on that Sunday morning, the 28th of July. You can register on the day. I know you'd like people to sign up, though, via your website to say, A, that they're coming, and B, also to raise some sponsorship if they can.
Yes, that's right. The whole point is to raise sponsorship for both Loros, that's our local hospice organisation, and other charities that we support at Rotary. We ask people either to raise sponsorship with a sponsorship form, which we send automatically when they register, or perhaps just to, if they don't want to do sponsorship, donate on the day. There is no entry charge, however. Any money that you wish to give us is entirely voluntary.
So you've broadly, you're there for, 4, 5, maybe 6 hours on the day?
Yes, we start between 10 and 12. It's not a race. There's no mass starts. Come along at 10 o'clock, or if you feel like doing so, come a little bit earlier, because we'll be there from 8 o'clock setting up. And quite a few people, I won't say many people, quite a few people start a little bit before 10 o'clock, perhaps because they want to get back home for lunch, or even to the pub for lunch.
So it's one of those once-in-a-year opportunities to walk the Ibrook Reservoir. It's so diverse as well, isn't it? You compare it to, say, Rutland Water that more people would be familiar with, but you've got the roads that head off to the neighbouring villages. You've got the field side of it. You've actually got the back area of the fishery as well. Yes,
it's the Ibrook estate itself is all edged by an SSSI, which says a lot for the area itself. It's a very beautiful stretch of water and good paths and walking. The thing I like personally about the Ibrook is you haven't got the continual whoosh as bikes come steaming past you at about 15 to 20 miles an hour when you're trying to have a quiet walk and your kids are running loose.
Absolutely. It's the Ibrook Walk. It's organised by the Rotary Club of Uppingham, and you've got a website dedicated to this, haven't you?
Yeah, we don't have a website specifically for the Ibrook Walk. We have our club website, which is www.uppinghamrotary.org, and there's a link there to the registration form for the Ibrook Walk, and we have the Ibrook Walk has its own Facebook page as well.
Excellent stuff. So that's Sunday the 28th of July. If you can, it would be brilliant to see you there. It's 4.7 miles round the Ibrook Reservoir, and it's the annual Ibrook Walk for Loros and Uppingham Rotary supported charities. Hugh Holden, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed, Rob.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Well, Colin Furs, who'd have thought you would actually have a stall at the Malcolm Sargent School Fair?
You never thought that when I was a student here. Are you a student at a primary school? I don't know. Yeah, it's strange to think, really. I used to run around this field when I was 5 or 6 years old. Now my son's here, and now I've brought some of my contraptions for them all to see.
And this used to be a Dodgem car.
It still is a Dodgem car, Rob. It's just a very fast one now. Yes, we've got my world's fastest Dodgem. This does 110 miles an hour. It was the fastest I've had out of it. And I've got my electric drift trike, which I made for Formula E. That does about 50. But, it's a nice little technical exercise. And then I've got my wonderful jet scooter, which is not quite so fast, about 30 or 40, but it sounds amazing. It's like a jet engine when that thing spools up. Brilliant. Neighbours love it.
Yeah, quite, because of course you still very much live in town, and your neighbours live amongst all this creation.
Oh, they think it's fantastic. The guy next door, Tomac, he's just constantly wanting me to start stuff up. I'm like, calm down, Tomac. Gotta take these things one by one. He loves it.
I looked at your YouTube channel the other day. How many million is it now that you've got?
We're at nearly 8.1 now, so it keeps climbing. It's good. It's hard to quantify it, really. I mean, I think it's like the population of Greece or something, or even, I don't know, countries. There's a lot of countries with less people in it than that.
And Germany, is that still your number one market?
Germany, the Germans do like me, because furs in German is fart nearly. So of course I'm Mr. Fart out there, and you can just imagine them. Oh, Mr. Fart with the crazy inventions, yeah. So, but yeah, Germany, UK, and US is the top three, and then after that, I've had Vietnam. Vietnam has been my fourth at some point. I think because I've done quite a few things with bicycles and tuk-tuks and stuff. I think they've gone on board, but it's for everyone. It's not particularly for women, it's not for blokes, it's not for any age group. Anyone can come up to me and say, oh, God, we watch your stuff. Fathers and sons watch it, mums and daughters and stuff. So it's all good. It's all good, Rob.
And obviously you do get commissions from people like eBay to actually create something. But then also you're trying to kind of keep people interested every week with Colin Thursday with something new. And I guess looking around your kitchen thinking, now what can I do?
Yeah, everything's fair game. Do you know what I mean? We've got the chair here, look, which is motorised. I've had the conveyor belt on the stairs. We've had the toasters, the kettles, the tea making machine. You can't leave anything lying around. It might get converted at some point.
And I guess you just don't know what the future holds, because you wouldn't have seen yourself doing what you're doing now quite as successfully, as a full-time job anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to think, when I was plumbing, doing it in my spare time, that the two would switch around. And if you think 10 years ago, I mean, this couldn't have been a job, It's only because, the internet's, such a thing now, and you can generate money from it, that it even is a job. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, as long as it, continues and stuff, and we're all having fun. What more can we do?
And it's all properly engineered, calculated. You actually plan all these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I brought this. You see, this is my. I mean, this doesn't work very well on radio, but what we've basically got here is a cardboard. This looks like something my child's made, but basically, sometimes before I make anything, I'll make like a cardboard version, which is just stuck together with glue, so I can see how things fit. I mean, this is going on my arm. For the radio people. So it fits on my arm, so I can see how it goes around my hand, how it's going to get trapped and stuff. And then I can make a metal one, which you can see here. So I only have to make the metal one once. So that's something, I don't always do drawings. I don't plan stuff on computers or anything like that.
But it's proper old-fashioned engineering.
Yeah, make it up as you go along. If it doesn't work, cut it off, start again.
Colin, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. I guess we just keep looking for new things, and I suppose actually from a primary school point of view, because of your book that has sold so well, that's sort of your latest growing market.
Yeah, well, I thought I did the book because I kind of wanted to. If I walked away from this at any point, I was like, what, other than a bunch of videos, what other mark have I left on the world, sort of thing. And I thought, well, if I can get some kids into doing, more creative stuff, because we are losing a lot of skills these days, because with people like schools, for instance, we used to have a machine shop at Casterton, but we were never allowed to use anything, health and safety and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, we wrap people up in cotton wool too much. It's like, give kids, cordless drills and a saw, let them go and cut their fingers and cut bits of wood and stuff, because that's how you learn.
And actually, they surprise you. They don't cut themselves like you think they're going to. They're responsible.
No, you've only got to do it once.
Even you're responsible.
Oh, to a certain degree, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, if you give them some chainsaw or anything, you're probably asking for trouble. But little hacksaws, things like that, screwdrivers and stuff, it's all good. But we've just got into this mentality of oh no, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. Where's your goggles? Where's all your PPE and stuff? And it's killing people's creativity.
But thanks to you, people are actually seeing that you can make stuff.
Yeah,
and I suppose that's one of the good things about what you do.
Yeah, it's the side effect. I mean, I didn't, when I first started making these videos, I never thought that, I wasn't putting them out there to inspire anybody to go and recreate stuff. I just did it because I thought it was fun and they were entertaining. So, and that's the crazy thing with all this. You know, people have emailed me because I've been doing this now for nearly 10 years. Mm-hmm. There's students, engineering students, of like coming out of university now, and they said, well, I started doing this because I was watching your videos like 8 years ago, and now they've gone through and come out of an engineering degree. So that feels pretty good to think that you've made somebody do that with their lives. So good on them. They just need to start YouTube channels now. I need to watch out. I'll be me own downfall, won't I?
Yeah, you don't want that, do you? No, indeed. But well done for putting Stamford on the map as you have for so long.
I know if you go on Wikipedia, I'm a notable resident now. What's the world coming to?
Rutland Radio.
My name's Amanda Jones, and I'm the musical director or choir mistress of the Summerby Singers. We've been going now since 2011, where a few of us just came together and thought we'd start a choir. I went along one night and they just went, over to you. And from there, I've learned and they've learned and more have joined us. We're local people, just from the local villages, come together. The main thing is we have fun. We have fantastic Monday night rehearsals, and they've gained in confidence, they've gained in ability, they've gained friendship as well from it. It's only £1 each Monday night. We meet at 7:30 most Mondays, and we do 2 concerts a year, a summer concert and a winter concert, and we put money towards charities. We also are hoping to do a really big concert next year to raise even more money for some local charities, and we've guest artists in Twyford. We're still getting our name out there, we're still learning, but some of the music they're doing is now quite complex, and we sing everything from what you've just heard, Summer Has Come, right through to The Greatest Showman. We're doing A Million Dreams. We're also doing things like The Lord's Prayer and Speed Your Journey, but we're also doing things like Hold Back the River. We've done things from Working Girl, Les Miserables. It's a real variety. The thing that I like to put across is that when an audience comes in, there's 2 things. There's something for everybody, and they get to join in and have fun. The last concert we did, we had about 3 encores and 2 standing ovations, because it's just fun. It's just fun. And we've gained in popularity, and we sell out fairly quickly with our concerts now, which is lovely to know.
So tell us about this Saturday. There's still tickets available for it?
I think there's probably 1 or 2 left for it, a couple left. Mel's our treasurer, so Melanie Davis you can get in touch with, or the Stilton Cheese will be selling some as well. If there isn't any tickets left, we could be doing our Christmas concert, which is the 7th of December. We'll be raising money for a local charity then as well. And then next summer, if you want to get ahead, we'll be doing it the same weekend. It's usually the first weekend in July, so people know. People have started arranging their holidays now around our concert, which is lovely to know. So,
excellent
thank
stuff.
you.
We'll have a great concert on Saturday.
Yeah, no, thank you.
If people want to find out more, they can check our website. But how fabulous is this? So how long have you been going, did you say?
Since 2011, and it started with about 4 or 5 of us, and we've got a nice little core now, and each time we have a few more join in. Some drift away and come back again, for different reasons, but it's just a lovely group of people who have fun.
It's a big, powerful sound as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is, as I say, because they don't have words in front of them, and I'm training them to project and put their voice out there and do the louds and softs. That colours the song and makes it more interesting. They've gained in confidence because they're not looking down at the words. They're looking out at the audience and connecting with them and making them join in with them, and taking them on that journey. We usually have a theme each time. This time it's by the seaside. And the interval would be serving ice cream. So there's something I like to do, the little picture cards on the chairs for people to come in that remind them of the old-fashioned seaside days.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
I am doing a bike ride around Rutland Water with my friend Charlie to raise money for our friend Phil, who 5 years ago got diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and it's a very harsh disease because it's incurable, there's no cure, and over a number of years it wastes away your muscles, which is quite debilitating. And we're raising money to help put towards him getting this new electric wheelchair that will hopefully, be able to make him much more independent in the future, and help him, have the good quality of life that he deserves. Because I, for one, know what it's like to not be independent, have to struggle with independent. And I think that it'll help him so much, and he deserves it.
Okay. So how much are you hoping to raise then?
So at the moment we've raised just over £7,000. We're aiming to raise 20 grand.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, David. I'm here with Anne Ellis, founder of Stamford in Bloom. Revisited, I suppose, reimagined, as is the way that people say. This is the second year of putting Stamford back on the map in this competition, and people are still saying, you know, they can't believe it had this gap. But how do you feel this year went as your second year in? Are your eyes more open to what was required?
Yes, I think we learnt last year about where to place the plots, and there was a lot of technical information that had to be gained from the councils and things about what was a highway, and so it was a lot of technical stuff last year. This year we'd had a bit more fun with the flowers, and we've learnt where the sun falls and where the shade is and what not to plant, and how high the planters need to be, and yes, it's been interesting, and we've extended the area north to south, and last year we think of it as being east to west. So now the town is covered, the centre of town, and we're told by the judges today that you don't have to reinvent a new route, which is probably useful because we think we've covered the area now and we just need to consolidate, and there are some places that we showed them that we wanted to work on, and they said you need to have a plan, otherwise you won't grow.
And that's very much the way they're looking at it. They want towns to improve year on year.
Exactly. I didn't realise how much. They said you don't have to have a new route, but they want to know that you've got a plan to develop the town. And this year we wanted to do Cheney Lane, and we wanted to do something in Ironmonger Street. Ironmonger Street has huge restrictions because of highways, and the councils won't let us have pots, and so the chairs being mobile have really been an absolute joy. And Yvonne Wagstaff has worked on planting most of them. I give her the plants and she arranges them the way she does. So it's been great fun. We've enjoyed doing it up at headquarters, having the space in the polytunnel to do it and leave them to develop before we brought them out. And so now we're relying on everybody to look after them. And some of the people are saying they love it so much they're going to keep it going through the year, which is probably the aim all along, is to be responsible for your own patch.
And you had 65 shops involved as well. They all signed up to be part of your competition.
Yes. Last year it was just 20 odd, and that's done with the tourist office and Mary Davis, and she does a lot of work. She and I worked last year to develop this idea. It was a bit simpler this year, and because we already had two loyal judges who did it this year as well, Lady Ursula Chumley and Andrew Norman. And so that was set in place, the form was set in place, which was just as well because I gave her very little time and she did most of the preparation work. And they judged that yesterday. I then have to put all these forms to the independent adjudicator, and she looks through it and then gives us a winner. But at the moment, everybody entered out of goodwill because they weren't offered any prizes whatsoever. And I have no prizes, so we're not sure how that's going to work. But we hope to have an awards evening of some sort by September, when we hear what we have done. We don't hear to then. It's like A-levels. So everybody has to wait till September.
And how do you feel when you've obviously had a very busy few weeks getting this all ready? Today is the day. The judges arrive at 9:30 and then off you go.
It's like an exam. You can't do any more. And last night we finished weeding about 10 o'clock last night, 4 of us, and we were absolutely finished by then, quite honestly. And no, it's just over the exam paper, turn over and off you go. And the judges are always very friendly. They're with you and for you, and they like meeting people on the way round, and they like the history. We had Keith Hansel with us, who had a lot of history at his fingertips to tell the judges about what was there, what's happening, and that was really nice.
So last year it was silver.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hope to better it, or is it about maintaining it through the year? Is that more important to you?
To me, it's more important that people learn to appreciate the town and look after their own patch. That's really what I want everybody to do. It's hard work doing it with a few of you, and I've got a lot of help, but it sometimes boils down to a handful, and that's not really what it's about. You should look after your own patch, really, and that would be a lot better. There are areas that we're looking to develop through the winter. As you know, the bulbs and things, that's a different sort of look to the town. No, I'd be happy if we kept a silver. The way the judging is done is the RHS system. There are only 4 categories, and you get marked on those 4 categories. It's not against another town or anything like that. And I think possibly horticulturally we might be a bit behind, but we're very much ahead in the participation with the town and the involvement of the businesses and individuals. So we score more points there if we're not too happy with the quality of some of our plants. And we do huge recycling. We don't buy a lot of annuals and things. We move stuff around and we put it out in pots, then we put it in the ground, then we take it out again. So I think they were quite impressed with how much recycling we did.
It's very resourceful. And Alice, very best of luck for the middle of September, and well done you and all those who help as well.
It's a lot of them. Thank you very much.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Yeah, so my name's Ian Arnold. I'm a member of the Feast Week Committee and a bit grandiose, I'm the race director for the Whistendine 6 road race.
And the race itself has been full for quite some time. It's one of those that the running community really like to be part of.
We were taken by surprise this year. We literally sold out within 5 weeks completely because UK Athletics limit us to about 300 runners because of the small village location.
So it all starts Friday night, 7:30.
Yeah, actually the start's up at Walton Close up on the Melton Road. So they have an easy start. It's downhill to the village green. Just as they go across the Humpback Bridge, it's then a bit of an uphill struggle up past the village hall. They turn left down Station Road, which is a lovely rural landscape, gently downhill. And again, that tends to lull them into a little bit of false sense of security. Get down to what I know as Whistendine Station. They'll turn left again, and it's the beautiful Stapleford Estate rural countryside they run past. And then it gets really tough. There's a long, drawn-out hill as they go all the way up Hollygate Drive, and that's a big, long, everlasting hill. They'll then turn left again and go down to what used to be called Bull Bridge and going past the old reclamation works. And then it's a bit of a struggle, a bit of a short, sharp uphill back into the village. And then it's a bit of a sprint finish for most of them down to the finish line. So it's nice that they finish at the village green. We end up with the brownies doing their sausage sizzle here. And there are various other stalls that just create a bit more of a village fete environment as opposed to being a sterile race.
It is called Whistendine 6 for a good reason as well.
It is a 6-mile road race. There will be a number of runners who will remember about 6 or 7 years ago we changed the start point because when they measured it we were actually a little bit shy of 6 miles. So that's why we've had to relocate the start.
And it's always worth turning out, isn't it? I mean, there's a lovely atmosphere here on the village green as well.
We get great support from the village because it is part of the Feast Week. We normally have, 150, 200 spectators on the finish line. One of my colleagues, Ian Horn, does a bit of jovial commentary as well during the course of it, does a few interviews with some of the children on the green. I've already mentioned things like the sausage sizzle, but there's means of you having some food. We've got Fernley's ice cream from the dairy barn. I'm going to have a stall serving ice cream because it's meant to be about 21 degrees, which is okay, but it's not bright sunlight, so it'll be good for the runners. It's a bit of a party atmosphere.
Not quite as hot as last year. I do remember that. It was so warm.
Last year was punishing for the runners. We weren't at all surprised when the times were a lot slower than some years. And a point of interest for this year is Andy Hart, who's and the Hart family are long-term Whistendine residents. Andy's won it, I think, 7 times outright, and hasn't run it for about 2 or 3 years. So it's good that Andy's back in again this year.
And what sort of time are you expecting, do you think? What are typically good times in slightly cooler weather?
We're impressed if people do it in about 34 minutes. The course record is just over 30. I have thought about putting up money as an incentive to get people to try and break the 30 minutes just as a bit of fun. And you'd need paces to do that because it is an arduous course.
And Feast Week generally, it's a great celebration of the village. We see the scarecrows here on the green, outside the school as well.
Yeah, I mean, it all kicked off really to a degree with, we had open gardens on Sunday, and that was really well attended with a lot of people who came out. We've had things like duck races. It's called a pig race, where it's actually pig images on a board which get moved along using ropes. We have the big quiz was last night. Today is the classic vehicle meeting, and every night there's either a fashion show or there's something else going on in the village.
And Does this raise money for activities in the village as well?
Yes, I mean, actually, we're really fortunate. We've currently got 2 defibrillators in the village, and we've now raised enough funds for a third. So there's one in the village centre, there'll be one at the church, there's already one at the sports centre. And every other year, every Whissendine resident over 75 gets a food hamper at Christmas. And again, that helps fund that, along with anybody who wants to write in and say, my child's going to be doing X, Y and Z, or I've got this. And we buy scripts for things like the Stars, the Amateur Dramatic Society as well. So it's a broad spectrum of where we put the money, normally associated with the village.
So the race itself is fully booked, but also isn't there a walk as well, which starts just before?
Alas, this year we have no entries. For the first time ever, there are no walkers. So we'll probably drop that event going forwards. It used to be very well supported by some of the village residents who have unfortunately now moved away. It's probably had its day. But yeah, as long as we've got 300 runners, financially it works out for us.
Ian, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. We'll see you back here on Friday evening.
It's been a pleasure, Rob. Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So, Jackie, your parents ran 2 separate shops in Stamford. Talk about your dad's shop first, then.
To start with, he ran the Boat and Railway pub, and he had a toy shop and fishing tackle on the corner of Star Lane. He then wanted a bigger shop, so he moved down to St Mary Street and phased out the toys and took sports instead, which he later sold to Mulligan and James.
Fascinating. And what your mum's delicatessen?
Yeah, it was 1 Castle Street, and it was called Dairy Fair.
They were the first to get yoghurt in Stamford?
She always maintained she was the first person in Stamford to sell yoghurt. And it was ski, and it was in little pots that looked like milk churns.
How amazing. Did they meet as shopkeepers then?
No, how they met, he worked for Currys and she worked for Woolworths. And then he got a job in Woolworths in Rugby.
And how did you feel going into these shops? I guess you actually helped out, did you?
No, because I worked at Castleroyd's.
Right, so all the plastic stuff like the toothpaste tubes and what else did they make at Castleroyd's?
It was tubes when I was there, but it was part of the Palitoy group. So they made toys and you could buy them in the workshop, but they didn't actually make them at Stamford at that time.
Rutland Radio.
Friday morning at Rutland Radio as the sun continues to shine and it looks like a nice weekend and a little bit cooler as well. Tomorrow is Extonbury, which I can't imagine how many years I've been talking to Mark Buttrell about this. How many years have we been talking and how many years have you been doing it? They might be different, but...
Well, I think we've been doing it since 2009 as a public event. It actually started as a private party in 2005, but it's been public since 2009. We missed out 2012, I think, so perhaps we've been talking since 2013, I think.
Yeah, probably have. So 10 hours and more of live music. It's the gates open at 12 and then the music kicks off at 1.
Yeah, we'll be open at 12. 12:30 this year. We've got 11 bands, as we did last year. We're turning it up to 11. So we start at 12:30 and then there's a band on every hour through till 10:30. That's our headliners, Funked Up, who are all over the place this year. They probably are the best sort of funky band, and they do prove that white boys really can play that funky music.
Yeah, they're really, really good, aren't they? And as you say, they've played so much, and it's a chance to see them and some of your established favourites as well. You know, part of the lineup is fairly regular.
Yeah, we've got 11 bands, as I said. 6 of those are bands that have been before, but Funked Up started last year, as did Filthy Contact. But old friends like Out of the Blue and Manky Beds. They're all in there. But I'd like to just get a big push for the new bands this year. A lot of those are on in the afternoon. So we start at 12:30 with Bad Fridays. Now, these are a band of 16-year-olds. They've just finished their GCSEs, but they're 3 talented multi-instrumentalists, and they're going to give us a set, and I don't know exactly what's in it, but it's going to range from Buddy Holly through the Clash to the Killers. So that's going to be a great start. We've got Oakley's Ryze, who are an acoustic duo. They're sort of slightly country, slightly sort of British folky, but they've just released their first album. They're fabulous talent. And then they're followed by Americana, that are a Peterborough-based 6-piece country band. So that's a real full-on modern contemporary country. Miranda Lambert, Little Big Town, the Shires, I guess. Really looking forward to that one. We haven't had a full-on country band for a couple of years. And then we've got Freudian Slippers. Now these guys are a bit different. They're nearly all professional musicians, and they play quirky music, possibly even slightly warped music. So if you sort of fancy Psycho Killer that feeds into pulling muscles from a shell and maybe ends with National Express by the Divine Comedy,
Yes.
That's the Freudian Slippers, and wonderfully entertaining four-piece band.
The fundraising as well that you do through the day, the raffle is incredible. Local prizes and some good music prizes as well.
Yeah, so we've got a fantastic snare drum. It's a really professional quality snare drum, Mapex snare drum. It's worth 350 quid on its own, and then there's an armoured case that goes with it. That's our old mate Skip Saunders from Stamford, who's been a retiring drummer for years. He keeps giving us drums as he keeps on retiring every year. But lots of other things as well, Bluetooth headphones, things for the kids like TY dolls, and we've got some unicorn poo, and wine and gin and things. So it's a great raffle, and that usually helps us to raise a lot of money for our causes.
And your causes are very much Exton based.
Yes, for the second year running. I mean, we often do national charities, and Air Ambulance has featured very strongly. But last year, we started a process of trying to update Exton Village Hall. And we did the building work last year, and it now looks absolutely wonderful. But we still need some more money to finish the process. We're looking to buy a whole new suite of chairs. The old ones are sort of the red plastic chairs. These are going to be much more comfortable, so that we can do our film nights in a little more comfort.
People don't have to bring their cushion along.
That's sort of, it's better for the bottom, as we say.
Yeah, I understand, yes.
But also, we're looking to put the internet in, to get some broadband in. In fact, we're already on with the council's project to put super fast broadband in. In fact, it's full fibre broadband. That's probably not coming until sometime next year. So we'd like to get started and get broadband in so that we can run the heating system properly remotely, and but also give people who are using the hall another set of options. There's a great music system there already, but it's all part of making it the community facility that it really can be.
Now, if you'd have bought tickets already, you would have saved yourself a bit, but £15, just over £1 a band.
It's incredible value, we like to think. I know there are free festivals around, and they're great, but for us, it is all about having fun. All the bands play for free. We have a couple of craft stalls who come along and just to sort of give a little bit more ambience to it. There's great food and drink from the pub as well. But for £1.36 a band, you're not going to do much better value than that. People can bring their own food and drink and relax and enjoy a small family-friendly festival.
So it all starts at, gates open at midday, the first band at 12:30, and then a band on the half hour, every hour, right the way through to 10:30.
Absolutely. I would just like to say that we don't have a car park, so if people can arrive at the event without driving, that's fantastic. It's good for the environment as well. But if you have to bring a car, please drive carefully and park considerately around the village. It's village street parking, so please don't block people's exits. Leave room for the bus to get through. That can be a bit of an issue. And the only other rules, really, I'm sorry we can't allow dogs for safety reasons, and please don't start a fire. But apart from that, it's relaxed, enjoy, bring your kids, and have a great time.
Mark, thanks very much for joining us. And Extonbury starts tomorrow, obviously, at Exton. Where else would it be?
Absolutely. Fox and Hounds, be there. It's going to be fantastic. Cheers. Bye.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Teresa Thompson, just committee member of Oakham in Bloom.
And, you've been involved with In Bloom for quite some time now. How is this year looking for Oakham in Bloom?
I think it's looking wonderful. It's an exciting colour scheme. The plantings all come together. We've got lots of refurbishments going on. I think it's really enlivening the town, and it's looking good.
I know, obviously, you had issues around Land's End Way, which presumably everything is just wonderful now, 2 months on. I know there were concerns about that with the fact that some of the plants had ended up meeting their end.
Yes, unfortunately, we haven't been able to replace those yet, but the perpetrators have put their hands up to it, and so we're hoping for that will be put right a bit later on in the year when it's the right time for planting.
And that does get taken into account, because I guess that's an environmental thing that you couldn't really do anything about.
Exactly, yes. I have explained the sad story to the judges, and they seem very sympathetic.
And Actually, with the sun beating down here and the amount of dry days, it must have been an awful lot of watering in the lead-up. I thought I saw actually the Bowser out at about 6 o'clock this morning.
Yes, that'll be Eric. He's been working so hard. I mean, he's new to the contract for Oakham in Blue, but he's been doing a fantastic job for him, and we are thrilled to bits.
So how far does it stretch out? We're speaking just near the Peacock by the library, which is the kind of iconic centre, really, of Oakham in Bloom, but stretches out to Land's End Way, to the boat on the bypass.
All of the roundabouts along the bypass are ours, and right out to the bicycle bed on the corner of Uppingham Road. We've got beds on Braunston Road, over the level crossing. It really does cover the whole town.
And if people would like to support you, I guess you're always looking for more people.
Oh yes, more volunteers are always welcome. I have to say though, we have quite a lot of new volunteers this year, which is lovely, but more people is always helpful, because the more people we have, the more we can do.
Do you have a particular theme for your planting this year? Was there some kind of philosophy over?
No, there's no particular idea behind it. It's just that it was a nice, bright colour scheme, and I think everybody's responding to it.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Stephen Dando.
Diane Moore.
And is this the first time you've judged Oakham?
This is the first time I've judged Oakham, yes. It's really impressive. And they've put on the sunshine for us. It's great.
So it's about sort of 12 towns in this category, something like that?
It's something that sort of thing. We're doing a number of them, but not all of them. But this is one of the good.
And actually, when it is so dry like this, after we've had so much rain, obviously it's made the plants look amazingly vibrant, but it takes a lot of watering, I suppose, as well. You know, and you must see that, actually, even from a judge's point of view.
Yes, but they've managed to do a great job. I think there's the issue of there was so much rain earlier on. I think it's produced some fantastic plants. And then, of course, there's the watering regime, which the Bloom has. So the combination of both have done a great job this year.
And the whole thing, it's not just about what we see, it's about how it's produced and who's involved as well across the whole community.
It is. The community involvement is very important. The environment is very important. The plants are important, but that's not the only reason. They've got to be able to show that they have all these other aspects as well. And they've actually done a good job today.
Now, I know you're always looking for improvement, and we can't talk very much about what you are marking today. Is it important, even though this is fresh to you, that actually there is an improvement over previous years? Do you get to see what was written last year as well?
Yes, of course. I was here last year, so I was got the lovely job of actually writing the report. So for me to come back on the second year and see the improvement and what the Bloom has taken up, all the judges' comments, the positive ones and a little bit of the negative ones, they've really worked hard to try and achieve that. So credit to them.
Excellent. Well, I got looking good out of the Stamford judges. Is there any chance I can get any words at all about what you've seen today for Oakham without giving the game away and actually breaking confidentiality, because this is all literally under lock and key until the 18th of September, isn't it?
It is under lock and key. What we've seen is very good. That's all I can say.
Right. Now, for me, it's not always about awards. You know, the health and care of the judges as we go round. We've got bottles of water. I've got a lady in the car helping me with my seat belt. It's all, and we've got a lovely Bloom car going around, promoting Bloom. So it's not just about the figures, the facts of the figures. It's about the whole holistic approach to the Bloom. And today we've been very satisfied.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Do 3 dishes, a salmon dish, a mackerel dish, and a gluten-free pasta dish. So we use quite cool ingredients like custard powder and stuff like that. And 3 o'clock I'm doing a pilaf, leek bhajis, which I love, which are all gluten-free as well. And then a couple of dipping sauces, tell a few stories and a few jokes and what's happened in my life at 40 years cooking. But yeah, it's good.
And gluten-free is one of your things, I know.
Yeah, and it's purely by chance. I mean, wherever I go, chefs never used to touch with it. They weren't bothered with it. But I have a scientist who works with me, and people say to me, "Oh, it can't be done." And it can. It just needs a bit of careful work and a bit of careful thought. So I sort of went that way. It wasn't an intentional thing. It just happened, and suddenly you become this expert. And let me tell you, I'm no expert. I just cooked for 20 years. So.
I think you are, really. Now, you said you fed your pigs before you left this morning. Yeah. I mean, that's as rural as you get, isn't it? That's the kind of idyllic chef life, you'd think.
Well, when I was a young boy, I worked at a pig farm. And when I got to about 10 years ago, I thought, well, I can do some pigs for myself. And I did that. I got thoroughly ripped off by people. But now we make things like air-dried ham salamis. Actually, I gave Sat Bain some stuff when he was there last time to Nottingham. So it's become a way of life for me, really, rather than that. And I've stepped back from what I call professional full-time cooking about 10 years ago, and I needed something to fill that void, and that's what I do. And I hate to use the word retirement, but I'm semi-retired, so
you can't be.
No,
now, come on.
I've been cooking 40 years this year. No, that doesn't include college.
Right.
So and my father retired at my age now. So all I want to do is just do something a little bit different, and I'm really enjoying it.
And I remember when we chatted a while back, you have porridge for breakfast, you'll keep it going on the stove, just adding milk every day. How many days does that last?
I forgot you remember that.
Of course I did.
I normally make 2 or 3 days worth at a time, but it needs to absorb it. So next day, and I had it this morning, had my banana, had my cappuccino. I had my Wellman test recently at the doctors, and they said, "Oh, yeah, your weight's okay, but your cholesterol's up a little bit." And I went, "Oh, okay." So
you seem to be running around a bit here, though.
Well, I do, yeah. And we're going to other country. We're going down to Gloucestershire cooking next week, and I'm going to Tenerife to do some filming for this morning. So I'm very lucky. And I was in a lavender field in Kent yesterday, so we did some good stuff.
Highlights from the past 7 days. The Rutland Radio Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, June. It's Rob from Rutland Radio.
Hi, Rob.
You probably got a call yesterday from a colleague also called Rob explaining about the Queensgate draw.
Yes.
Well, I've just done the draw, and guess who's won?
Oh, my God.
So,
I never win anything.
£100 to spend at Queensgate with 6 hours free parking. Have you any idea what you'd spend your £100 on yet?
Clothes.
A nice new summer wardrobe.
Oh, yes. Summer clothes, definitely. Because I've lost a fair bit of weight, so I need some summer clothes.
Oh, well done you. That's fabulous.
Oh, yeah, well, 3.5 stone I've lost, so I could really do with some new clothes. I can't believe it, I've won. Oh, my God.
Well, that's brilliant that you've done that as well, because that's a really tough thing to do, being married to someone who's done something similar. I get that totally. So the whole load new clothes going in the wardrobe, and it's a lovely feeling, isn't it?
Good luck to your wife as well. So fair play to her. It's difficult, but, we've done it, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, fab.
Oh, my God, I'm really stunned.
No, that's an absolute pleasure.
Rutland Radio.
Hello, Phoebe. How does it feel to be on national telly?
It's absolutely incredible. I can't believe it.
How did you get there? Loads of auditions and stuff? Did you have to sing in front of producers and then you ended up on the show?
I had about 5 auditions before my one on TV. So it's been quite a long road to getting actually at the blinds. But it's just been crazy. Like, every audition's just been amazing.
And how nerve-wracking is it when there you are performing on The Voice, the judges' chairs are all back to you, and then you just hope that one turns? And it was only just the last second that Jessie J turned for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was literally on the last note, but it's really nerve-wracking just before you go on. It feels like a mile-long walk to get to the microphone, and then there's a buzzing, so it's quite nerve-wracking before the music starts, but once you start singing, all them nerves kind of go away, and you're just enjoying the performance.
So now you're in Team Jessie J. We'll see you back on TV on Saturday night. What has Jessie J said to you so far? What's been the big thing that you've gained from working with her?
I think the biggest thing working with her is she believes in everyone, and the main thing she tells us is just to believe in ourselves. That's sort of like a confidence boost because you just enjoy it more. You feel more relaxed while singing. So, yeah, she gives really good advice as well.
So what about your singing in Rutland? You go to Catmos College, don't you?
I do go to Catmos College. I'm part of the chamber choir at school, and we've done performances at Oundle and other competitions as well. I've also just done a school production called Sister Act.
Yeah.
And I played Sister Mary Roberts, so that was really exciting as well.
Now, Sister Mary, isn't she the one that does the breakout, and really goes for it?
Yes. She's
what a perfect role for you.
She's the one that's really quiet at the start and then breaks out into big songs. So, yeah, it was really exciting.
So it must just be like a dream for you at the moment, actually being on TV. So it's 8 o'clock Saturday night?
Yes, 8 o'clock on ITV Saturday night, but yeah, it just feels like this whole experience has just been so memorable and overwhelming with so many emotions, because you don't think a girl from the small little village Rutland that she's going to be on TV, on ITV, singing in front of millions of people. It's just insane.
It is a bit insane, and well done for putting yourself forward for this, and well done for all the progress that you're making. We look forward to seeing you over the next few weeks and catching up with you here on Rutland Radio as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
Peter Benham, East Midlands in Bloom, Judge.
Now, you were saying a few moments ago you've actually been in both kind of chairs on this, judging and also been leading an In Bloom group, so you kind of see it from both sides, and I guess you see all the hard work that's being judged in just a few hours.
Yeah, it's always a balance, and you always feel for the people who are taking you round, because having been in that sort of situation, you know time is pressing and the various things that can go wrong, and I've had things go wrong, and as I say, you just want it to run as smoothly as possible, and our job as a judge is really to give people as many marks as we can. We're not here to reduce people down, but reward them for their efforts.
And is it always a case of looking at previous years and thinking, actually, what has been achieved extra to what they've already done? And is that really tough when you're thinking of Uppingham, that's got gold before, that's been honoured in Britain in Bloom as well?
Yeah, it is. I came here 2 years ago, so this is like a return visit. So it's good to look over and see how projects have matured. And also, no doubt there'll be new things to see on a route. It's not always showing you a polished route. You can always go round and see something different or have new ideas. So it's interesting from both aspects.
I know you have to sit on everything that you say until the 18th of September when it's all revealed. I've said to the other judges that we've seen in Oakham and Stamford, if they can give us any kind of inkling, we've had looking good and that kind of stuff. Would you be able to sum up your impression of Uppingham so far without actually influencing what's actually being recorded?
What I've seen so far is that everything's going very smoothly, so that's, well, at least from my point of view. I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes, but everything's going quite smoothly. But the quality is there again, and certainly some of the floral displays are equally good from what I've seen in the past. But as you rightly say, it's very difficult for judges to give away any other information.
And how do you find it actually judging so many? Is it literally over a fortnight or so you're going to different parts of the East Midlands?
Yes, we judge over a fortnight, and the reason why we do it over a fortnight is so that all of the baskets and all of the tubs and everything are all at the same stage. If we did it over, say, 2 or 3 months, you'd have baskets which are perhaps bountiful in flowers and some that may even been newly planted, so it is a leveller, and of course the weather's a leveller as well. Fortunately this week again it's reasonable, but we have had weeks where we've had 2 weeks of rain, you know, so it's very interesting as you go round to see all the different lengths of growth.
Rutland Radio.
Thank you, Sire. Well, sun beating down in Uppingham with 1 or 2 strange spots of rain, which I don't suppose is a bad thing when you've got plants involved. It's the East Midlands and Bloom judging, as you say, in Uppingham. I'm here with Miranda Jones, who's the chair of Uppingham in Bloom now, wearer of many hats, to be fair, but we're about halfway through here. The judges seem to like what they've seen so far. We're in the Falcon Hotel garden, which itself has won before, and this is actually being entered as part of it, isn't it?
It is, yes. They've got a beautiful garden at the back here. The judges are just enjoying a pretty decent spread that's been laid on for them by the team here, which is brilliant. It's always a joy, actually, to take the judges around the town and just feel enormously proud of the work that Uppingham Bloom has done and the support that we've got from the wider community and businesses. It's been brilliant, a brilliant year.
And Uppingham School do a lot with you. I know Keith's here as well from the Gardens team. They manage the kind of watering, and it kind of blends in with what Uppingham School do on the other side of the main road, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought goes into how we plant up the town so that it all matches, there's no clashes. And yeah, the school are wonderfully supportive and a charming bunch of gentlemen.
And the new bit on Uppingham Roundabout. I mean, you always have done a display, or for a few years, World War I display, I remember, in the bank just on Aston Road. But looking at these, the ironwork that's there now, that is so impressive.
It actually surpassed my wildest dreams, actually, and that's all down to Steve Parker at Overwrought, who designed and made the animals and put them in situ, and Smithers Purslow, who financed the whole thing. It was just a brilliant effort, and yeah, it's made a good impact. That's what I wanted. I wanted people to know when they'd arrived at Uppingham.
Miranda, thanks for being the chair, and well done Uppingham in bloom for another great entry in town. See whether East Midlands in bloom agree that it's one of the best ever. 18th of September, it's all revealed.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
I'm Ken Lake. I'm the General Secretary of the English Schools Cricket Association, and basically responsible for the first two competitions on Monday and Tuesday. These are national competitions. We have about 900 schools throughout the country taking part. It's a two-tier competition, county under 14 and then under 15 in the national rounds. And then we whittle it all right down until we get to the final two who appear at Oakham. Now, on Monday it was Eton and Trent College, and in the end Eton won by 12 runs. So it's a very exciting game, and the big thing for us, we talk about the MCC code of cricket. The atmosphere and the way they played against each other was first class. And then the next one on the Tuesday, and that's the under-13 competition. And again, that's a two-year one, county winners into the national rounds. And we end up with the two teams here. The David English Bunbury competition, which he sponsors. And he was here yesterday, as lively as he could possibly be. And Pressfeld beat Millfield quite easily in the end, but it was, again, a very good competitive game.
My name is David Farmer. I'm the Assistant General Secretary of the English Schools Cricket Association, and I organise today's cricket, which is the Under-11 tournament. We have 8 regions throughout the country, and they play earlier in the season, and each region produces a winner, which comes to today's finals day. We're delighted to come to Oakham. As you say, it's such a marvellous setting, and we're very well looked after. We've been coming here a number of years, and we always enjoy coming back.
So people can come down this afternoon and see some of this cricket?
Yes, there's no charge for entry, and we're delighted to see as many spectators as possible.
And as you say, the standard is incredible.
Well, yes, I mean, it's the best 8 under-11 sides in the country.
And what sort of time will the play continue until?
About 5 o'clock.
So people can still pop down between now and then and see some great youth cricket and possible stars of the future, I guess.
Oh, indeed they could. And if you look out there and you see the quality of the cricket for 11-year-olds, it really is good to see.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
I am Aidan McGarry, and I'm the musical director of Counterpoint.
And it's not long until your next concert, week on Saturday at Barnhill.
That's true. The concert is at Barnhill on the 20th of July at 7:30, and it's free entry, with donations going to Sue Ryder Thorpe Hall.
And varied programme. I mean, we're hearing some of it just now,
Yes.
But real kind of sunshine songs.
Yes, indeed. Songs for the summer. Look back to the 60s as well, 70s, 80s, everything's in there, really. Songs from the shows, a whole mixture that should be something for everyone.
Is this your last one?
How did you know? A little bird told you. It is. Christine and I and Brooke are going to be leaving after this concert, but we very much hope that the choir will continue, and I think it will. We're going off to sunny Spain because I have a teaching job there starting in September, which we're very much looking forward to going, and we'll leave the choir with a huge amount of regret, but knowing that it'll keep going is really the most important thing, and on to bigger and better things, hopefully. We'll miss them, but we might come back and come to a concert. You never know.
I think they might miss you as well, you know, to be honest.
It's been great fun, and they've been like an extended family to us, and we've had highs and lows, and we've been through everything together, and that's been really important for us and for them, I think, as well.
And you've raised money for various different charities. Sue Ryder a lot of the time.
Yes, mostly them, actually, to be honest. They're very dear to our hearts, so we hope that connection will keep going if possible.
So free, but you'd love people to donate on the night.
Yes, donate as much as they like. Yes, any donations gratefully received.
Rutland Radio.
A multi-class regatta, so basically a massive sailing competition.
And this is your first time sailing on the sea?
Yeah, there was all massive jellyfish that hit the rudders quite a few times, so that was quite annoying, but yeah, apart from that it was okay.
You've been sailing at Rutland Water for quite a long time now, about 4 years?
Yeah, and I've basically got through almost 2 books, the Rutland Sailability one, and then I'm in the RYA one, which I'm now on stage 4.
So you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, pretty much. There's always something more for me to do, but at the moment there's nothing really, so that's why we've gone for the race, because at the moment there's no one really that can help me progress because of how high up I am at the moment.
And Rutland Sailability relies on volunteers and also people raising money for it. And you've raised a lot of money for it, have you?
Yeah, I've cut my hair off for them. I've done all different bits. When I cut my hair and that, half of it went to Rutland Sailability and half of it went to Rainbows.
You've raised, I hear, about £5,000 for Rutland Sailability alone.
Yeah.
That must make a real difference to the club then.
Yeah, with some of it we bought like some new boats and that. And there's electric ventures now and stuff like that, so it's really good.
So as well as that, you've raised money for loads of things. You're 11 years old.
Yeah.
Isn't that a lot for an 11-year-old to have done?
There's some, yes, but for me, I don't really think so. I think there's still a load of stuff that I can do, but sometimes children don't get the support that they need when they're not different, but like unique to other children. We always try and find stuff that I can do and that can actually be really helpful to other people.
So you joined this club 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You're a complete novice, you'd never sailed before, and now you're doing competitions like that multi-class regatta.
Yeah.
And you raise money for the club, you volunteer at the club as well.
Mhm. I help pack up boats, also sail by myself in the Challenger, which is like faster than the boat I was sailing in the regatta.
For everything you do, all the strides you've made with yourself, and also all the stuff that you've given to everyone else. You're our hero of the week. Logan Bell, well done.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Not all that long until the Land Rover Burley Horse Trials this year. Something that will happen as part of the horse trials this year, but then will be something that will be used throughout the following year, is the Face of Burley, looking for a man, a woman, and would you believe, a dog as well. To tell us more, Ruthie Dean, who is a photographer through the model industry. That is your background, your profession.
Yeah, models and actors, but I photograph anybody really. But people is what I do.
And you're really looking for people you can see something kind of behind for this. You're not necessarily looking for the traditional smiley model, although obviously they need to show off what Burley is about.
Yeah, I think what they're looking for is something that encompasses Burley, the local area, Stamford, Burley House, someone with character, personality, and has something to say.
That is such a tough one in a way, but I suppose once you find it, you'll know.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to actually meeting the applicants that we invite to the final judging, and see who we've got there. I really want to see some characterful faces, and happy faces and expressive faces. Expressive faces are great for me from a photography point of view.
And is there anything people should bear in mind in terms of the timescale and how much they'll need to be free, and will they have a chance to go to Burley and be presented as the Face of Burley as well?
Well, the winning photo shoot is going to be on the first day, which is the 5th. It's the quietest day, so the winners can get to be photographed without the masses there. Well, that's the general idea anyway, but they will need to be available for that day. It won't take the whole day, we're hoping, so they will be able to go and enjoy Burley as well. And they need to be available for a day in July. No, they need that. I've messed that up. Sorry.
Don't worry, that's fine. I can always chop it on.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So they need to have entered by the 22nd of July. That's the closing date. So we're almost there, really, aren't we?
Yeah, not long to go at all. And I suppose you are looking for a man and a woman, and as I say, a dog, which is a separate competition, which you'll find on the Land Rover Burley website. But you said to me you're not necessarily looking for the model type, but obviously I suppose you want people who are fans of Burley and being able to kind of project that through how you photograph.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're looking for somebody that enjoys country life, but also someone who enjoys the other elements of Burley, such as the shopping and the food and the social element to it. That's really important. That's where most of the photographs are going to be taken, within those areas. You know, there are people that go to Burley who don't actually see a horse, that go for the social element of it. So actually we'd really like people that enjoy that aspect of it to apply as well. People that can express themselves on camera, be comfortable on camera, and not freeze as soon as the camera's in their face, would be absolutely great. But equally, we're not necessarily looking for the next Kate Moss or the next runway model. This is about a person with character.
Are you looking for a man and a woman? Will there be one eventual winner?
No, it will be a man and a woman. I think actually we're looking for 2 women and 1 man ultimately. So, fingers crossed we get lots of amazing entries.
And they don't need to know each other. People don't need to arrive as kind of the trio.
No, they don't need to know each other. In fact, I think it's probably better that they don't really. It'd be, meeting some new people, new like-minded people as well.
Is this something they'll get paid to do?
No, I don't think they're going to get paid to do it.
That's fine. I just thought I'd ask that question.
That's all right.
While I was here, I'll chop that bit out then. They basically will be in the new marketing campaign for the next year of Burley. That's the eventual aim.
Yeah, so they'll appear within the marketing material for the 2020 Land Rover Burley Horse Trials, and they'll also receive quite a few prizes as well. I think the prize package total amount is around £2,000, so well worth entering for that. There's clothing and jewellery, some photographs with me, all included within that prize package. So it is pretty good.
And clothing-wise, do they need to be dressed in country wear? Do they have to have all the gear already? Is it something that you'll be able to actually dress them up for?
That hasn't been confirmed as yet, but I believe that there are some brands that are providing some clothing for the winner's shoot. So I don't think it's a problem if someone doesn't have the items of clothing that ultimately we decide to shoot with. But equally, I think that what someone wears says quite a lot about them. So we will be looking at that at the judging day, which I believe is the 22nd of August, so around about 2 weeks before Burley, because there may be someone that exudes style in such a way that actually that's one of the reasons why we choose them as our winner, and we very much want them to come in their own clothes and their own style. And that doesn't necessarily have to be what you might traditionally consider to be Burley. It might just be a very glamorous person that dresses incredibly well that we wouldn't be able to compete with.
How do you fancy being a face of Burley for the next year? You need to get your application in by the 22nd of July. And is it a case, I know all the details are on the website, is it a case of them taking, putting a show reel together, various different photos of them in different poses? Is there anything you'd recommend for it?
I think when you apply online, the key is to provide really clear images of yourself. So, mobile phone shots, absolutely great, but make sure they're not blurred. Make sure that you definitely haven't got a filter or a Snapchat filter. Particularly doesn't really give us a very good idea of what you look like.
No silly glasses or anything.
You're suddenly a giraffe.
Yes.
Then that's my favourite one at the moment. So clear photographs, a nice clear head and shoulders shot is great, and a full length as well.
Excellent stuff. If you fancy being the face of Burley, you really could win. You could be the face of this year and next year's Land Rover Burley Horse Trials with this competition. And if you go to burley-horse.co.uk, you can find out all the details. And Ruthie Dean, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
First of all, Graham, this is your first time in Stamford?
First time actually to stop and do something like this. I've often passed through it and driven slowly to take in all the beautiful buildings and so on. But I think it may well be the first time I've actually done an event here.
And actually in the Christian music world, you've been having hits, as it were, since the 70s.
Well, yes. I started off as a singer-songwriter, more of a sort of folk singer-songwriter performer style, did all concerts, and then as out of what was happening in my life of discovering God in a much more real way than previously, the whole world of what it means to worship God kind of opened up. And my conviction is that as human beings, we are made to worship. We're created to worship. We have this kind of desire to reach out beyond ourselves to something greater than ourselves. And it's in the Christian faith that, I discovered my journey, that this is God and Him reaching out to us in Christ. So worship, and as a musician, writing worship songs very quickly became my main work. And as soon as some of those songs became popular, it kind of draws out more.
And actually people are saying, all right, Florence, do you want to get down? Hang on. Just hold Daddy's hand. Just hold Daddy's hand. And actually people are saying that, come 100 years' time, people will be remembering your work like the greats of 100 years ago.
I guess the answer is we'll wait and see. I won't be there anymore. You never know. You never know what will last and what doesn't last. It would be a great honour if even one of them survives that long. But it's a great privilege to have been able to write, certainly for my own generation.
And a worship concert, so that's a mixture, presumably, of music and reflection.
Yes, it is. I mean, actually, the whole Christian faith is, and the Bible, which is the book of the Christian faith, is a book of stories, and it's a story of people like us encountering God and what happened. So when you're singing from the point of view of someone who is on that journey, as I am. It's very natural to tell some of the stories and sing some of the stories. So some of the songs tonight, we sort of stop for a moment and sing about one of the disciples of Jesus. Or there's a song we may do, which is about Mary, the mother of Jesus. But the great thing about the stories is that they release more worship. We see, wow, God's really like that. Therefore, He's worth worshipping and praising. So, yes, it's like that. It's not a church service. It's not a concert for entertainment. It's a kind of mixture of lots of things.
And a full house.
So I understand. Yeah, it's great. I'm really pleased because folks have put a lot of work in tonight, and it's very rewarding for everybody to see it packed to the gunnels.
Thank you very much for sparing the time, Florence. 1 second. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sparing the time to talk to us ahead of this, because I know it's just minutes before you go on, but thanks very much for sparing the time talking to Rutland Radio, Graham.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
Did you watch the Cricket World Cup yesterday? One man who did and remembers those days himself for the big cricket competitions is Stanford School's very own Dean Headley. Now, Dean, you did say that if England kind of got the confidence behind them, they could do it.
Yeah, I thought that England have planned for this for 4 years meticulously, and this was a combination of all those years and efforts and what they put in.
What about that 0.05 seconds, the replay that everyone's seeing at the moment? Do you think that's a decision that would have been able to take before the videos and stuff?
No, absolutely not. I mean, video technology is brilliant, and there is always still some fine lines, all sorts of things, whether was it a wide, was it not a wide, but that's sport for you, and you'll always have those things. Otherwise, what would we talk about when we're, in gatherings or in the pub? What would we talk about in those close decisions? And that's part of sport.
And what are your thoughts looking forward to the Ashes then from now, with England having done something which, has really united the country?
England, they've done brilliantly in the World Cup. They've won the World Cup. Their confidence is going to be high, but I think you'll find obviously it's going to be a slightly different squad. You're going to have Anderson Broad come back in, but they'll take great pride in what we've done. You saw all the tweets yesterday, everything, all the ex-England players, everybody who's connected to that England team just wanted that team to get across the line. Going to the Aussies, going to the Ashes and the Aussies are going to be completely different. We've just got to blank our minds and get on with what we do well at Test cricket. And it's going to be a hard series.
Dean, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Really appreciate your input this morning.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
So I'm Karen Hannah and I'm the producer-director.
And I'm Tori Longdon and I'm the conductor.
So we're here at St Martin's Church in Stamford. This is kind of the lead up to, a couple of weeks of filming around the Stamford area.
That's right, yes. So we're basing a whole episode of Songs of Praise in and around this area. We've been filming at Burley House over the last couple of weeks, and there's a little bit more to do. And we're recording music this evening with a huge congregation, actually. We think the church is going to be absolutely packed. And quite a few of the hymns that we're recording will be included in that programme. So for people who live locally, it will feel like a very local Songs of Praise.
And Tori, from the music that you've got tonight, I heard some rumour you were looking into a Stamford hymn being performed tonight.
Well, there's a tune by a gentleman called John Clare Billing, and he used to be an organist at Stamford in the Victorian times. So it's really nice to be able to bring an old Stamford tune back to St Martin's in Stamford.
And for the congregation, they get coach, they get direction, they get breathing, they get all the things that singers would get.
Well, yeah, I mean, the key thing about doing a congregational outside broadcast with Songs of Praise is that it's so fast-paced. We only actually have about 15 minutes to get each hymn into the can. So for them, it's going to be a sort of white-knuckle ride through British hymns, and hopefully it's going to be plenty of fun as well.
Now, it's just moved, hasn't it, to lunchtime?
That's right, yes, we've got a regular lunchtime slot. So over the past few years, we've actually been moving around in the schedule, so we found that people didn't know when Songs of Praise would be on, and every single week we get people complaining about it. So we've moved earlier in the day to a consistent slot, 95% of the time, I think, except if something big happens. And we're finding that that's fine because more and more people are watching on iPlayer than ever, really. And also we've got social media going, so if we do have to change times, people tend to look there.
And this is all going out on the 1st of September?
That's right, yes, on the 1st of September. And we really hope that everyone will tune in.
Now, through the magic of TV, when it's all pieced together, Aled Jones will be presenting all this. He's already done his bits here.
Yes, Aled's finished. It's very difficult to bring everyone together, really. Obviously, we had to organise everything with Burley House and then also with Aled's schedule, and then he has to be on lots of different programmes at the same time. It's a huge jigsaw, actually, putting everything together. But once it is together, you never know, I hope, when you're watching it.
Do you happen to know, he may have said this actually in one of his pieces to camera, that Stamford was the first Songs of Praise he ever did? Do you know about that?
No, I didn't know that was the case.
Sam Rhodes thought it might be, one of his very early appearances as a teenager.
Are you challenging me now to look
I'm
that
just
up
asking.
and put it
I'm
on
just
social
asking.
media?
Yeah, well, we'll ask if you don't, so yeah.
I think we should. I'll tell you what, I'll take that away and I'll have a look and we'll put it on our social media.
Have a great time tonight. Thanks very much for coming to our beautiful town, and Songs of Praise 1st September, we'll look out for it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, first of all, if you can explain about the challenge. So it's the 3 peaks with you biking in between. So you must have got some training in with the biking, if nothing else.
Yeah, I've started doing a few rides out on the bike recently. Obviously, it's something I wanted to do for a while. I've sort of got John O'Groats to Land's End in the distance.
And the Sunshine Campaign, this is something that's obviously touched you. Have you got a personal connection with the Ferry family?
Yeah, I'm good friends with part of their cousins, and I used to work with Sonny a bit. He was a good lad, and it seemed right to do something that way.
Are you doing this all on your own? Have you got like a support crew with you?
Yeah, I've got a support crew with me. My father and one of his friends driving a motorhome with me and meeting me at certain parts of it. We'd go that way and then just see how I get on, really.
So you're hoping over 4 or 5 days to have cycled 500 miles and climbed the 3 peaks?
That's what we're going for.
Wow. How did you even come up with this? This isn't the usual way of doing the 3 peaks challenge, is it?
No, I'm quite sporty myself anyway, so I'm always out and about doing stuff. So it's right up my street.
And have you got anything sort of special in the can? Are you going to be having a particular diet for this? Is this all sort of planned out?
Obviously, with my training before, I know what my body can take. I sort of know what I've got to eat and stuff. I think I'll be burning over 9,000 calories a day or something like that.
So about 3 to 4 times what the average person would burn.
In a day, yeah, exactly.
So how are you feeling then as you're travelling over then to take this up?
A little bit nervous, to be fair, but I'm sure once I get going, it should just be okay. I've got my routes planned, so hopefully there's no major road closures or anything like that on these little roads, so it should be good.
And what sort of time are you setting off Wednesday morning?
I should be setting off to climb Snowdon. I'm going to do the horseshoe route around 6 a.m. in the morning. Then hopefully I should be finished there around 12 o'clock sort of time, and then onto the bike and try and get 120 on the clock and get myself just that big chunk of it done.
120 miles. What's the full distance then between Snowdon and Scarfell Pike?
I think it is, by the routes I've gone with, it's 207 miles for the first journey, and then the last distance is 322.
Wow, that is seriously impressive stuff. So we hope to chat to you afterwards. If anyone would like to sponsor you, it's all through the Sunshine campaign, basically, just to pledge more money.
Yeah, that's it.
So 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, you'll be hard at it.
That'll be the one, Rob.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
First of all, Johnny, just if you can describe what you're doing and from what time you're going to set off on Friday, because I do know one or two people who are so interested they'd love to wave you off from Cottesmore.
Well, I'm leaving around about 6 o'clock from our base near Cottesmore. I'm going to go via the Burley Water Tower and Exton that way. We're going to try and keep off the main roads.
When I first heard about this, I thought that it was going to be some sort of vintage tractor, and that's the reason it only goes 14.2 miles an hour. But this looks quite a modern thing.
Yes, she's only 2 years old, but she's what you call a compact tractor. She's 47 horsepower, but she just doesn't go very fast.
And how did this all come about?
A couple of years ago, I was approached by somebody from Headway if I could help them with a project at the Green Backyard in Peterborough. And I said yes, and I gave my time freely, and with Perkins Engines we put a path in and some raised beds for them. But they are in dire need of cash because the premises they used to have were at a NHS hospital that has been now developed into housing. So they had to move, and now they've just recently moved again, so they've got no permanent base.
So they were Thorpe Road and then moved to where they are, and now they need to find somewhere else?
Yes, that's it. And they have just moved somewhere in Cambridge, which is a bit more of a permanent base, but it's still not permanent. And they're in dire need of money. And we're building the garden at Sandringham for Headway, Norfolk and Waveney. So I thought, well, on the way there, I'll try and raise some money for Headway, Cambridgeshire. So that's why I came up with this silly idea.
And about how far are you going to be going per day, and how much traffic are you hoping to hold up whilst you do it?
Well, I'll get there in the day. Whether it takes me 7 hours or 10 hours, I'll get there in the day. I'm going all the back roads. I'm going Empingham into Stamford, out Barnock, Helpston, Glinton, just touch near Crowland, Wisbeach, and then I should get on the A47 about 3 miles before Kings Lynn, then go out the back of Kings Lynn onto the A149 Sandringham.
And tell us about Sandringham Flower Show.
It's a massive show, and it's only a one-day show, and it's on Wednesday the 24th of July. There's something like 22 to 25,000 people get there just for the one-day show. And we've been building gardens there for, I think this is 14th time. And for the last 10 years we've been doing them for charity, just to try and raise awareness for local charities in that area.
So this is a massive, massive event, and your effort hopefully will raise a lot of money for Headway. You've got this trailer behind. Is this all filled up ready? It looks like it's got, kind of... now let me think. I mean, I'm not the biggest gardener in the world, but it looks very much like a lot of lavender. What's that red thing? I don't know. You'll have to take over here, actually, to be fair.
To be honest, my wife is the plants person. But yes, lavender is there, and there are some grasses. There's some cypress trees as well. Some panels that are for another garden at Sandringham, which I'm just taking free of charge, and my dinner box.
Right, yes, that's very important as well. And unlike most tractors, whatever the weather, you're going to feel it.
Yeah, it's got climate control.
You mean the outdoor air?
Yes, I'm open to the elements, yes.
And it does look a little bit showery, doesn't it, on Friday, but who knows?
Possibly, yeah. I've got my coat, so if we get wet, we get wet.
So if people would like to sponsor you, I suppose it's difficult for you to stop and collect donations on the way.
It is. On the back of the trailer, I've got a board with what it's all about. And it's we've set up a Just Giving page, and it's Johnny-Baker-Tractor. And I've got nearly £1,500 on that at the moment, but I've also got cash donations and cheque donations as well. So we're up to something like £1,700 at the moment.
You've put 10,000 on now. I mean, it's still achievable, isn't it?
It is. I think that was a bit of a pie in the sky, really. But I thought, well, if you're going to do it, go big. So that's why I put 10 grand on there, but I don't think we'll ever get near that.
who knows? There's all the time in the world, isn't it, before Wednesday? So this whole garden build will start on Saturday then and get ready for Wednesday itself.
It does. We have to be finished by 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. So, yeah, the talk of showers on Saturday, but we just have to get wet and get it done.
Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. Very best of luck with it. As you say, just giving and just search for Johnny Baker Tractor and you'll find out how to support it.
Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio.
Hello, Kira. I hear you met Lewis Hamilton at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How amazing is that? What did you ask him?
Like, how was the race? He did say there was a couple of challenges.
And how was it actually meeting someone like that? Because he's probably the most famous racing driver in the world right now.
I was very excited and nervous.
And did he give you any advice on your career to get to where he is?
No, I don't think he had enough time to talk about that. So obviously he also had to get out to his motorhome and to his fans.
How was it actually seeing him in person? Was he about the same as you imagined, having seen him on the TV and stuff?
No, because on the TV they look different. I just felt like I was in a dream when I met half the drivers.
I can imagine. I mean, how can it get any better than that, apart from obviously your racing career? So what about karting? What's next for you? When's your next race?
This weekend.
And where are you off to?
I'm off to Fullbeck, just past Grantham.
Is this a championship race or a practice or?
It's practice and I'm trying to stay ahead of the championship.
How are you doing at the moment?
Leading the championship and I'm doing really well.
Fabulous. Wow, that is amazing then. So not only a weekend at Silverstone where you meet Lewis Hamilton and half the drivers, generally, but also you're doing well yourself. Well, very best of luck with it. And so when's your race then this weekend?
Sunday.
Brilliant. Well, have a good race. Is there anything particular that you'll be working on?
I'm trying to get my engine back up to speed because we are struggling with speed. So we're going to have to get some more RPMs into it and stay focused.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very best of luck with it. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio and enjoy your last couple of days at school.
Thank you for your time.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So the stage is very nearly set. The wonderful backdrop of Burley House Battle Proms is yet again in our area. Adam Slough has led the team who's created this amazing concert, and it's not just a concert, is it? I guess that's what Battle Proms is about. You hear the music, you join in with the music, but actually the whole day starts a long time before then.
Yeah, exactly. The backdrop is the orchestral concert, which is superb in itself, but you're right, we're not in a concert hall, we're out in the field, and we make the most of that. And it's not just a field, it's the most beautiful setting of Burley House. So we make the most of the panoramic landscape that we have here, so we fill it up. We have cannons, we have cavalry, we have Spitfires coming over, and we've got the Red Devils coming. So it's a fireworks spectacular, but it's not just fireworks, but it's certainly spectacular.
And 15 years creating this, it all started at Battle Abbey, hence the name, and obviously the Battle Symphony as well. It all kind of came together.
Yeah, in '97 we came up with this idea. We had 190 cannons kicking around my father's yard, and we thought, well, they're just going to rust, so we need to use them. And we built the show around those guns originally. And then, yeah, adding all these things to it has just happened over the 22 years now that we've been putting this on all over the country. And we just can't help adding things, really, which is why we started with the guns, and we took to the air at one point, added to Spitfire quite early on here at Burley in 2007. The Red Devils are quite new as well, but that's the thing, really. It's essentially a Last Night of the Proms finale here, of course, at the Battle Proms. So that structure doesn't change, but we try and make everything around that new and fresh, but at the same time giving people what they expect from the true Battle Proms experience.
And thousands of people are going to be here on Saturday night. There is still a chance for people to join them too.
Yeah, that's right. Tickets are still available from battleproms.com, and also, you know, there'll probably be some available on the day, either online or on the gate.
And this year, obviously, has been yet another big military anniversary. D-Day will be marked, I presume, as part of this.
Absolutely. We will certainly be making a huge nod towards the D-Day 70th. The 75th. This year, like we did with the 70th, we're going to do the evening gun salute to memory of all the soldiers who fought and the civilians who died and injured in that incredible battle in in 1944. So yeah, we will be talking about that, and we'll be doing our evening gun salute in memory of D-Day.
And as well as, sorry, I was partly thinking of holding her and trying to shut her up. Just trying to think what else I was thinking of, as well as D-Day. And the military charity partner that you've now got through the first 2 concerts, you've actually managed to raise £30,000 for them as well.
Absolutely unbelievable, and this is mostly from donations from our lovely customers, our promers, who have really dug deep for the first 2 concerts for this incredible charity, SAFA, who are there for the families of our armed forces.
So, if anyone's interested in coming, all the programme is online, so they know what to expect, what time to arrive, what to see at various times, and obviously you'd love them to buy the programme while they're here, but they get an idea of what to expect before they arrive.
Yes, it's all on the website, all listed, where you can see. I mean, it really just demonstrates how, as you say, it's more than just an evening concert. It starts in the late afternoon. We have a warm-up acts, we have cavalry skill at arms displays. That's all before the orchestral concert, and of course the fireworks at the end. Well, we're famous for those.
And actually, yes, I mean, you're famous as an event, and people do come back year after year to spend a Saturday night in July here.
Exactly. We have an incredibly loyal following, actually, that come back year after year. But fortunately, they generally bring new friends each year. So it's quite interesting how a lot of people who've never been before still come to this event, and we make new friends, really. Yeah. So it's a real institution. As I say, it's been going on 22 years, 15 years here in Stamford, and it's the annual event that people come to, and we're very proud of it.
Adam Slough, we're proud to be working with you as always, and see you on Saturday night here in the auspicious grounds of our fantastic stately home.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Thank you, Sire. Well, actually, they seem to have just about dodged the showers here at Stamford Welland Academy on their 2nd annual Race for Life. I'm here with Miss Campley. Everyone here with their blue medals, and obviously had a great time here this morning.
Yeah, it's been a really nice event. We've had all of the students come into the main hall for a warm-up with me, getting them all hyped up for the event, and then they would do 1 lap of our school field and went over onto the farmers field to do 2 laps. So thank you, Mr. West, for letting us use that. And it's just a really nice buzz around the school. Like, you're here now, you can see what it's like. We're all doing it for one main reason, and that's to raise awareness for cancer research and to raise some amazing money. We're at the moment on Just Giving page, I think it's at £300, so we're just waiting for all the kids' sponsorship money to come in, so hopefully we can raise as much as we did last year.
Yeah, absolutely. About 400 students here, something like that?
Yeah, 350 to 400 students, so they've all paid £1 today, so that's raising our money, and we've got a tuck shop going on with Miss Forger, so yeah, we all go together on days like this to make them worthwhile. So. And
last day of term and last day of school for some of these who are here today, does it all go just a little bit crazy come about 3 o'clock?
Yeah, it's I am very tired. We've had sports day and the Race for Life this week, both that I've organised myself, so it has been completely bonkers. But yeah, 3 o'clock we're all ready for it. You can see what the kids are like now. They just want to be outside. But we've got a celebration assembly this afternoon, which will be nice to celebrate all the success of sports day and everything else we've been doing. So yeah,
fabulous stuff. Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. As you can hear, the cool down isn't exactly the quietest cool down I've ever heard, but Stamford Welland Academy has just successfully completed another Race for Life.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Lisa Dotchin, Student Support Advisor.
This day doing School Race for Life means a lot to you, I know.
Massively important. Miss Camplin started last year. It was the most amazing day. The sunshine, everything. Today the weather hasn't been great, but the atmosphere has been just as fantastic. Myself diagnosed with breast cancer the first time 3 years ago. Treatments and surgeries, and unfortunately it came back a second time. I've just returned to school this week, so it has been fantastic to come back, and we're going to end the summer term on a high.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a journey, and how timely that you're back to see this.
Absolutely. I was determined to come back. The kids all get behind it, staff do, and of course we know everybody's family is affected by cancer. And if it wasn't for cancer research, I wouldn't be here.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.